Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the real story behind the Mongol invasions of Japan. You've probably heard bits and pieces of this famous legend, right? But today, we're stripping away the myths and looking at the actual facts. Let's just jump right in. So here is a crazy question for you. How exactly does a massive, legendary victory end up destroying a whole nation? It's a story full of action, but also, well, total irony. You see, Japan managed to defeat the largest army in the world and save their homeland, but that exact same victory completely destroyed their own government. How in the world did that happen? Part 1. The real Mongol goal. To figure this out, we first have to ask, why did the famous Mongol leader Kublai Khan even care about Japan? A lot of people think he was hunting for gold. Actually, that's just a myth. He had a much bigger goal. His main rival was the massive Song dynasty over in China. To beat them, he absolutely had to stop Japan from trading with the Song. He especially wanted to cut off Japan's supply of sulfur, which, is a super important part of making gunpowder. Plus, his own empire was kind of split at the time. He needed a big, flashy win to prove he was the true boss. So really, Japan was just a stepping stone in his much larger plan. Part 2. The first attack. Kublai Khan sends these aggressive letters demanding Japan's surrender. Japan simply ignores them. Big mistake, right? Because in 1274, he attacked. And wow, this was a total clash of two very different worlds. The Japanese samurai fought the old-school way. They preferred one-on-one fighting with these really long bows. But the Mongol army? Completely different. They fought in tight, organized groups, guided by loud drums. They shot really fast arrows. And worst of all, they threw explosive gunpowder bombs. It was loud, chaotic, and the samurais struggled really badly against these brand new group tactics. Let's look at the timeline. The whole mess started in 1268 with those threat letters, which led to that very first attack in 1274. Now, after a really fierce fight on the beaches, the Mongols just kind of suddenly got back on their ships and left. Japan survived. But they were smart. They knew for a fact the Mongols would come back, so they started this absolutely desperate race to prepare. Part 3. The Giant Stone Wall. The Japanese government, known as the Kamakura Shogunate, realized they could not fight the Mongols the same way again. It just wouldn't work. So they decided to build a massive defense structure, 20 kilometers. That is how long this giant stone wall was around Hakata Bay. Thousands of workers and samurais spent months and months hauling heavy stones to build this huge barrier. Now, why build a wall right on the beach? Well, it was built specifically to stop Mongol horses and soldiers from landing directly on the sand. You see, the Mongols were the best horse riders in the entire world. Speed was their ultimate weapon. If the horses could not charge up the beach, the Mongol army literally lost its biggest advantage. Honestly, it was a very, very smart strategy. Part 4. The second attack. All right, 7 years go by and the wait is over. Kublai Khan had finally defeated the Song dynasty. So now he focused absolutely all of his power right on Japan. He sent an unbelievable force of 140,000 soldiers on thousands of ships. Just to put that into perspective, this was the largest ocean invasion in human history at that time. Truly massive. But when this huge army finally arrived, they hit a literal wall. That giant 20-kilometer stone wall worked perfectly. The Japanese samurai defended it incredibly hard. Because they couldn't land on the beaches, this giant Mongol army was stuck out on the water. They were forced to just sit on their hot, crowded ships for months during the intense summer heat. And then, something almost unbelievable happened. A massive summer typhoon struck the bay. The Japanese later called this the kamikaze, or divine wind. Now, the Mongol ships were mostly flat-bottomed, built for calm rivers, not for the rough ocean. So this violent storm just smashed the ships to pieces in a single night. Tens of thousands of soldiers drowned. Just like that, the Great Invasion was over. Now, you would probably expect Kublai Khan to be furious, right? You'd think he'd severely punish the leaders who lost this massive war. But actually, the exact opposite happened. Look at General Fan Wenhu. He literally ran away and abandoned his troops, but he got promoted later. General Zhang Shi threw away his horses to save his men on his ships, and he wasn't punished at all. General Li Ting even helped choose the next Khan. Somehow, these top leaders survived a terrible defeat and completely kept their high status. Part 5. The shocking result. So, the Mongols went home, and Japan survived its biggest crisis ever. But this amazing victory had a really shocking result for Japan itself. To understand why, we have to look at the Japanese economy. The government used a system called go-on and hoko. Basically, when samurai fought hard, the government paid them by giving them captured land. For a samurai, land literally meant wealth. It was everything. But here is the problem. This system turned into a deadly trap. Yes, Japan won the war, but it was a defense war. Because they only defended their own country, they didn't capture any new land at all. Meanwhile, the samurai had spent all their own money on weapons and armor to fight. With zero new land to give out, they got absolutely no reward. They went completely broke. Naturally, the samurai felt betrayed, they got angry, and eventually these poor warriors actually teamed up and overthrew the Kamakura Shogunate. The very same warriors who saved the government ended up completely destroying it. It's such a strange twist of history, right? And it leaves us with a really deep question to think about. Can a victory be too expensive to win? Japan stopped the world's most powerful empire, sure, but the heavy cost of that defense totally ruined their economy and destroyed their own government from the inside out. Surviving a giant threat is, well, sometimes only half the battle. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.